Yankee and the Brit's the place to be. Radio living is the life for me. Airwaves spreading out so far and wide. Keep your FM, just give me that internet side.
Online is where I'd rather stay. I've got a lot of music to play. I just adore a Yankee view. Darling, I love you, but give me a show to do.
The Chat.
The Brats.
On air.
That's fair.
You are my wife.
Goodbye, British life.
The Yankee and the Brit on air.
Yankee and the Brit Independence Sunday night. Hello. What's going on? Nice to have you here. Sabin Sharp's joining us here on the telephone.
Good evening, Sabin.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Not bad, thank you.
I think
Not
we should
bad.
be asking you that question.
Well, I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there. I appreciate y'all having me.
I said, you got some killer music. I love that ballad of Bobby Bain. That's pretty cool.
Well, I appreciate it, man. That's one of the first songs I ever wrote. Well, me and my dad actually wrote that one together. But yeah, that's some of my early stuff there.
Is that like? Is there some truth to some of that?
Yes, sir. There's some truth to that. Actually, I'm from South Carolina, and originally, my great uncle was actually a moonshine runner, and that's what it's about. It's about it's pretty much about my great uncle, but we didn't put my great uncle's name in it. We just came up with another name, and kind of like Popcorn Sutton is kind of how my uncle used to be, and he was actually like a modern day outlaw, I guess you could say, back in the day. And I mean, he ended up going and having to go to prison and all that stuff for running moonshine and everything. So it's just pretty much about him and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool tune. How old were you when you got started in music?
Well, I've always been around music my whole life because my family was involved in music, and it all started in church from my mom's side and my dad's side. Both sides of my family did music, as far as like singing in the choir and playing guitar or playing piano or something. I was always around it, so I was introduced to music pretty much my whole life at a very young age, and I just was drawn to it myself. So I'd have to say I've been around it my whole life, but as far as me really getting into it and trying to do something with it, as far as career or whatever, I didn't actually start singing in front of people and performing and all that stuff till I was in my early 20s, till I was about 20, 21. But I sang in church and all that stuff, when I was younger as a kid and everything. And I've been writing music and stuff since I was probably about 12. And that just started off as like.
Have you written all these? I beat her to the question.
Oh, you would.
Have you written all these songs that we have here? Empty Bottles, Out of Town, Start a Fire. You write all those yourself?
Yes, sir. I've written all those myself. Majority of everything that I write myself. Now I do some co-writing with, other writers and stuff like that. But as far as the ones that you got there, I've written all those myself, and I do a lot of writing. I mean, that's what I like to do. I love to take an idea or something that a real life experience just happened to me and turn it into a song and have other people that can relate to it and listen to it,
Well, I got to say right now, real quick, kind of off the subject of music, but then again, you sound a little bit like Elvis. It's driving me nuts over here.
Elvis?
Yeah. It sounds like Elvis when he's talking.
I've heard that before, and I've even been told that I even favor him a little bit. Well, when he was younger.
Oh, is that right?
I favor him a little bit. I've heard people. I can tell you a funny story about that. I actually got out of a speeding ticket at one time because policeman pulled me over, and I gave him my license, and he was a big Elvis fan. And my license back then, I kind of had my hair combed back like Elvis and stuff. And he was like, you look like Elvis sitting there in this picture. And he told me that he was a big fan and everything, and he just gave me a warning and kind of let me off because I reminded him of Elvis. So.
Oh my
Did you Did you tell him thank you? Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I told him that. I said thank you very much.
Us ladies have to get our boobies out to get away with stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. I thought that only happened in movies.
No, sir. That's really happened. That's a real life story. But my grandma, she was a big Elvis fan, so I always grew up, listening to his stuff. And my dad says I should watch him and steal some of his stage moves, but I don't believe I pulled him off. I don't believe I do all that.
Can't quite twist those hips like that, huh?
Well, I can, but I just don't think it's appropriate for the stage. You know what I mean?
I see.
So, what is your very earliest musical memory from when you were young and had really tiny legs?
My earliest memory would be probably like a school musical play thing I did back when I was real young, probably when I was 5 or 6, and it was at my school I went to a little private school back then, and it was a Christian school, and we did a play around Christmas time on like Jesus and Nazareth and all that stuff like they do around Christmas, and that's probably my earliest memory. I remember, and I sang in that thing back then, so I was probably 5 or 6, so that's probably the earliest thing I ever did as far as entertaining and singing in front of somebody.
Wow. And do you remember the first song that you ever wrote, what it was about?
Yeah, the first song that I ever wrote was a song. Actually, the first song that I ever wrote was about an ex of mine.
Wow.
Well, she's an ex now, but back when I wrote the song, she wasn't an ex. But it was called "Do I Stay or Do I Go?" And it was a song that I wrote because I was in a relationship at the time where I knew that I should probably leave, but I stayed anyway just because of certain things, and I knew it was probably better to leave, and so that was probably the first song I had ever written as far as like a ballad or something. Like I said, I've been writing music since I was probably 12, but that was probably when I was about 16 I wrote that song. So.
Wow. So, do you go out on stage much?
Do I go out on stage much?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I go out on stage all the time. Music and entertaining and singing and all that's pretty much that's what I do for a living. So, but since I had a bad car wreck back in April, and ever since my wreck, I haven't been doing much because I've had a couple complications. And when I was in the wreck, I got wreck was real bad. Guy ran a stop sign and T-boned me and my girlfriend, and I ended up getting internal injuries and stuff like that. And they had to operate on me. Had to have a major operation, emergency surgery, and because I ruptured internal organs and stuff. And I'm still recovering from that now, but I still write and I still do stuff with music, and I'm just waiting to heal up properly and recover 100%, and then I'm gonna get back out there and be back on stage again.
Wow.
Are you up and about moving around yet, or are you still kind of bedridden?
No, sir. I'm not bedridden or anything anymore. I can get up, move around, and do stuff, and luckily I can still walk and talk and play guitar and all that stuff. It's just I got a big scar on my stomach now, but I can't lift anything heavy or anything yet until the doctors tell me it's all right. I mean, I can pick my guitar up and stuff like that, but I can't pick up anything real heavy just yet.
Have you tried any singing? I mean, are you singing now?
Oh yeah.
Do you have any pain like in your chest or anything from pushing hard or anything?
No, sir. It don't bother me. I still been singing. Actually, when I was even in the hospital, I would lay in the bed and sing a little bit to myself just because I was in the bed and there was nothing really else I could do. So it doesn't bother me. No.
Well, that's good.
Thankful that I'm still here and that I'm still able to sing and play and do music, which is what I feel like I was put on the earth to do. So.
Well, you do a hell of a job at it. I got to tell you that much.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I just do it because I love it and it's fun, and I like writing songs and then playing them out and seeing what the response is. And if somebody's out there that's been through the same stuff I've been through, or if it's a song like a ballad or something, and they've been through the same thing that I've been through, and they can relate, then to me that's what it's all about. So.
Now you're an independent artist, right?
Yes, sir.
Where do you record at? Somewhere around your neck of the woods, or you been to Nashville?
I record out in Nashville. I have two different producers that I use out there in Nashville. One is a buddy of mine. His name is Colt Caparoon. I use him for some songs, and I've used another friend of mine named Kenny Royster. He was actually producer for a lot of people that's in the country music industry now. He actually produced Hurricane by Luke Combs. So I used him, and that's who I used for Empty Bottles and Out on the Town and those songs you mentioned earlier. I used Kenny Royster from there, but him and Colt are both out in Nashville. So, what's
the word like through the studios and around Nashville? Have you heard, or any idea what the word is about independence versus a lot of people that are signed on with big labels?
I do know that there's like the people that are signed to the big labels that have certain producers that are signed to the big labels. I do know that it's hard for an independent artist like me to go use that same producer. So like if I wanted to use, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a name. If I wanted to use like Cole Swindell's producer or something, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to use him because they got binding agreements with the labels. I mean, that's what I've heard anyway. I don't know that for a fact, but that's just what I've been told. So
you mean the agreement says that they can't record independent artists?
I don't know if it says that, but I'll put it to you like this: I've reached out to producers that I know that produce big names, and they told me that they would like to work with me, but they can't because they're binded by some kind of agreement or some kind of contract that the certain label or certain group or whatever it may be won't let them touch independent artists. And I don't understand all that. I've been doing music professionally for about 5 years now, but there's still a lot that I'm still learning. So
right, yeah.
So how do you get to not be an independent artist if they won't touch you?
Well, I kind of got an idea about how to do all that, but it's just pretty much building up your fan base and trying to get your name out there more, and because the labels want to see that you can do all that on your own, and before they take you in. At least that's the way I figure it is. I mean, that's the way I look at it. That's kind of how I perceive it.
Somebody else had mentioned that kind of thing to us, and the first thought that went through my head is they want you to do all the dirty work, so they don't have to pay out for that kind of thing. Yeah. I think it's kind of, they see you as an investment, so they want to see what they're going to get for their bang for their buck. Pretty much, I guess, is what it is. But me personally, I would like to make it big. I want to be a big name in country music. I got all these goals and dreams and aspirations of doing all this stuff in the music business, and I'm gonna try to achieve those things. But if I don't, then I'll be, I'm okay with that, because like I said, I don't do music for the money or the fame or any of that. I do it because I love it and it's fun, and it's something that I've always been drawn to, and I've done a little bit of everything as far as work and career and stuff. And music is something that I'm always drawn back to. I always stick with. So, but it would be nice to know, to be a big household name. Sure.
I want to be like the Michael Jordan of country music one day.
Do some slam dunk.
That's right. I'm the type that when I do something, I want to be the best at it. I don't want to, just kind of do something halfway. When I want to do something, I want to do the best I can, and stuff like that. So
yeah, we got one of our great listeners in the chat, Carol Durham. She wanted to ask you if you ever sang at the Blue Bit
Bluebird Cafe, I think is what she meant.
Bluebird Cafe in Nashville.
Have I ever sang there? No, I have not sang there yet. But it is on my list of places to sing. Actually, I was out there. I was out in Nashville for a little while, and I had opportunity to play there or whatever, but I just didn't make it. But I definitely see that happening in the near future.
Do you have a band?
Yes, ma'am. I have a band. I have a touring band. We play all over the whole United States. Right now, we mostly play around the Southeast, but we go up to New York, Pennsylvania, and actually before I got my wreck, we were supposed to go to Iowa, Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, all up that way, but I had to cancel it, unfortunately, because of my wreck I had and my health. I wasn't able to make it happen, but we tour all over, and so yeah, I got a band, and we tour and play all over.
Do you have any advice for your future self when you are rich and famous?
If I ever get rich and famous, my advice to my future self is to always stay humble and don't forget where you came from, and don't forget who you are, because I've seen and I've heard that a lot of people, when they get rich and famous like that, they change. They let the money change them, or they let the fame change them and stuff like that. And so if I ever get there, like I said, if I never do, I'm okay with that. But if I ever get there, I just hope I don't, and I don't think I will, because I'm stronger than that. But people, they say money changes people, and where I come from a little small town in South Carolina, so I've never really known what it's like to have a lot of money. But if I was going to give myself advice, I would say just always be humble and don't forget who you are and where you come from.
Good advice. And I should imagine with what you went through with your car wreck, that's probably changed you and, give you a few life lessons.
Oh, it definitely has changed me. It's definitely made me look at life a lot differently than I used to.
So what do you like to do to relax, like hobbies and things?
Hobbies, well, I like, of course, playing guitar and doing music. That relaxes me, but I like to go fishing. I like to fish and hunt. I don't get to hunt as much as I used to, but I got a pond in my backyard on my property where I live at, and so I go down there and go fishing sometimes, or working on my old truck or something like that. Stuff like that relaxes me and kind of gets me away from everything that's going on in the world.
Just think about the day comes when you're all rich and famous, and you go up and buy yourself 500 or 600 acres up in the mountains with a great big old lake full of trout or bass.
Oh man, I tell you, that would be nice, man. I tell you what.
Wouldn't that be great? I'm going home. I'm leaving Nashville for the weekend, and I'm going fishing, and nobody hear a word from you till Monday morning.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. I'm waiting on that day, man.
See, that's why you're here. Get it all done, make that music, make that cash, and get what you want. A lot of hard work, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. People don't realize that how much work and dedication and everything it takes to do what we do. It's not an easy life, and by no means. You have to sacrifice a lot of things, and you hear people say, "Well, why don't you go get a real job and do this and do that?" And it ain't easy.
Get a real job. I never understood that. If you're doing something you love, that is your job.
Yeah, I know it. I don't understand that either, but it's usually coming from somebody that doesn't do it. It's just they don't understand. So
we've all seen those kind of jobs where there's people sat round a table pushing the pens and signing the signature, but they have no clue what it's like actually out there doing the work. That's kind of in all walks of life, and it's kind of frustrating. How they can sit there and bark the orders when they have no clue what it's like,
Or standing in a factory 8 hours a day, doing the same job over and over and over just to get your paycheck,
Well, see, I've done that before too. Like I say, I've done a little bit of everything. I've worked at factories. I worked at a dog food plant one time making dog food. It wasn't the best smelling place, but I did it, and I've done a little bit of everything. I've done landscaping. I even was a barber at one time, barbering, cutting hair. So, and I was even in the Army at one time. So I've done a little bit of everything. But music is what I always go back to.
That's how it should be. Do what you love.
It's what I feel like I was meant to do. So, because when I used to work at those factory jobs, like you said, 8 hours a day, I used to be standing there making dog food or, stacking steel. I worked at a steel mill one time. And I used to sit there and think, man, there's got to be more there's more to life than this right here. I'm not knocking that job. People that do that, I respect them, I'm just saying for me personally, I used to stand there and be like, there's got to be more to life than this for me. Like, this ain't what I want to do forever. I want to play music. So that's what I went and did,
Well, I think that's what everybody thinks about when they're in a factory, especially when the Brit worked in the factory for, even just after like 3 or 4 months, you must be like thinking there must be more to it. But, it takes guts and it takes balls like yourself to say, screw this, I'm going to go for my dream. So, yeah, it's awesome that you're going ahead with it.
Well, I just know that, one day I'm not going to be here no more. And, I just felt like if I'm gonna live here, nobody's promised tomorrow, and nobody gets any redos when it comes to this journey called life. And so I decided then I'm gonna do what I wanted. I'm gonna do what I want to do, what I love to do. And so I just made my mind up one day, and I said I'm gonna go do this, and that's what I did. Haven't looked back since.
So, are you working on a song at the moment?
Yeah, I got quite a few that I'm working on at the moment. I always got something in the works as far as song. I got a couple. I got some party songs, and then I got some ballad songs. My favorite kind of song to write though was a ballad. Loving and leaving and cheating and lying and drinking and trying to drink them off your mind. That's my favorite kind of song to really write. And but I got a couple of them that I've been working on. I had one I was working on yesterday. It's called I Just Wanted You to Know. And what it's about is you running into you having a breakup with an ex or with a girl or guy or whatever, and then you never really got over them. You always kind of had feelings for them, and you're like, well, that's kind of the one that got away or whatever. And so you call them up or you run into them somewhere and you just tell them how you feel, kind of get it off your chest. And it's called I Just Wanted You to Know. Take it or leave it. Like, you don't have to say anything back. You don't have to say, okay, let's get back together, or I hate your guts, whatever, but I'm just letting you know that's how I feel. That's kind of one I'm working on now, and a couple others, but yeah.
Are you single now?
No, I'm not. I got a girlfriend, and she's good to me, and she's the one that was in the wreck with me, as a matter of fact. And But no, I'm tied down.
Tied down. So do the ladies throw their underwear at you when you're on stage?
Well, they haven't done it in a while, but I've had it happen before.
Oh, well, It's about time somebody said that. We asked quite a few people that, and they're like, no, it ain't happened yet. It ain't happened yet.
I've had some crazy stuff happen as far as that subject goes, but as far as why I've been playing, I've had some crazy stuff happen.
Are you still playing
females? Are
you still playing in the little honky tonks, or are you into bigger venues now?
I play the smaller stuff every now and then, but when I play the smaller stuff, I don't do it a lot. And when I do it, it's just me solo acoustic. And most of the time, I'm playing bigger venues and stuff like that. Most places that I play I'm pretty much on the same circuit as anybody else that's hot right now, up and coming and touring, doing stuff. But I do all that with my full band and everything. But I do go back to the smaller honky-tonk stuff like that because that's where it all started. I like playing there sometimes still. And I don't think that I'm better than that place, you know what I mean? It's just I got to go where it's better for me to make a living.
Right.
But I do play the smaller venues every now and then still.
Have you opened for any bigger acts?
Oh, yes, sir. I've opened for Tracy Lawrence.
Oh, nice.
Colt Ford, Dylan Scott, Josh Turner. I'm trying to remember.
That's quite a lineup.
A couple other ones. I opened up for Jackal, the rock band, one time. Trying to remember. There's a couple other ones I opened up for. I can't remember. Oh, David Lee Murphy.
I didn't know he was still around.
Josh Thompson. Yeah, he's still around. He's actually got a song out now. He did a song with Kenny Chesney. And he's actually a big songwriter. A lot of people don't know. He's a big songwriter. So he's got a lot of songs on radio that you didn't even know he actually was behind as far as writing and stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you don't hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they don't never tell you that kind of stuff. I never knew that either till I got into the business deeper than I, when I was just a kid growing up. I heard somebody on the radio and I was like, oh yeah, he must have wrote that song or whatever. But a lot of times the guy that's singing it wasn't the guy that wrote it. But
yeah, you never hear those kind of stories. You don't even read those kind of things anywhere. That so and so writes this or does that. It's you'd think there'd be more talk about it, but I guess it works behind the scenes. That's the main
we didn't
thing.
really know much about as much about Prince as what we do now until after he died. And we found out that he wrote this and he wrote that and he, worked with charities.
Well, they kind of keep everything hidden, and then something like that happens and they kind of bring it out.
Yeah.
Everybody else brings it out.
So where can we purchase your music?
You can purchase my music pretty much anywhere you can download music. iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, all your major music outlets. You can download my music. It'll be there at Sabin Chart. And I got some new music. I'm fixing to go in the studio here in the next month or two when I'm healed up a little bit better, and we're going to record some new stuff. So I'll be putting that out. Right now, I just put out a new single called The Story of You and Me, and it's on all those major music outlets. And then I got an EP I put out last year. So, check that out.
Make sure when you get a chance, you send us over some of that new stuff when you get it cut.
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
I'm excited about getting into the studio recording this new stuff because to me, I feel like it's some of the best stuff that I've written, and so I'm excited about getting it out there to the people and to the fans to hear it.
I wanted to ask you about the band. Is it the same band all the time when you're out, or is it whoever you can get at the moment?
It's the same band all the time. We're all pretty tight, and I use the same band every time. Back in the day, I would have like a band I would use close to home, and then because those guys it was just like my first band I ever had, and everybody had a regular job, plus they played music on the side. And I had those guys, but they couldn't travel and go out of town when I, would go to different states or whatever. So they would stay home, and then I just hired like some guys that could travel and go out on the road with me. But now I just got the same band.
You want to mention some of the band members real quick?
Those
guys deserve their due.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll mention my lead guitar player. His name is Josh Edwards, and y'all can check him out at Josh Edwards Music on Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. And then actually, I'm actually in the process of kind of getting new members. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I got a new bass player now. His name is Parker Lee, and y'all can check him out he's on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff at Parker Lee Music. But I'm currently still looking for a drummer. I had a drummer, but some things were going on, and I got to find me a new one. So, but I'll give those two guys a shout out. Josh Edwards, my lead guitar player. He's been with me for years now, and he's kind of like my right-hand man, so I'll give him a shout-out.
Yeah, I think it's nice to mention those guys, too, because, they are part of who you are. Without them, really, you're basically just an acoustic player, so it's nice to talk about those guys. I think it's good to include them.
Oh, yeah. And I always, every time we play somewhere, I always, give them a shout-out and everything to the audience, to the crowd, and stuff like that. I try to be the best I can. I try to be the best I can be to them. I look at it as like a business, and they're my employees, so I like to take care of them.
Right.
So.
Hey, I got to ask you now, when you go in a studio, do you ever take the whole band and record like one song at a time, or do you just go in and cut your part and then they add everything else later?
Well, the way that I do it now is I usually just go to Nashville and I use studio musicians out there that are already there in the studio. And then my band, whenever we get the tracks back, my band will just learn them, how they did them in the studio. But back in the day, I used to take the band in there. My band, I would take them in there and we lay stuff down ourselves and stuff like that. And they would all lay their parts first, and then I'd come back and do my vocal. And that's still kind of the way I do it now. We'll get like a raw track with my vocal and the whole band or the studio musicians, and then once they get a good
bass or whatever of the instrumentals, then I go back and get my vocals down, and then they just do all their little magic and everything to make it right, and it's done.
So really, pretty much anymore, whole bands aren't getting together in a studio and cutting a tune.
No, not really. I mean, there's a few that do it, but to my knowledge, a lot of them don't do that anymore. So
I find that
not in country music, not in country music anyway.
Where's all the fun, the excitement, the the moment between the players when you guys can look at each other and have that shit-eating grin, or you can bounce off of each other and feel what the other one's feeling, and all that's kind of gone, isn't it?
Yeah, well, me and my band, we usually go, like, if I write a song and I just present it to them acoustically, we'll all jam on it and we'll come up with something. And if I like that, I will say this: if we'll do that, if we think that's good or we like that idea, then we'll keep that idea, like the way the song that y'all have that you mentioned earlier, "Out on the Town."
Uh-huh.
Me and my band actually came up with that ourselves, and we just sent it to the studio musicians, and they pretty much played it the same way we played it. The only reason why we use the studio musicians is because the producer that we use and all that is when they charge you to come in there and record and everything, all that is included into the price. You have to use them, and it's just a process.
Right.
But we still, me and my band, we still jam, and there's a lot of songs that aren't recorded that I haven't recorded that we actually play out at shows that we just put the music to ourselves. And so if we come up with an idea, we can take our idea to the studio and still lay it down the way we came up with it. So, all that's not really dead or anything. We still come up with it, and we'll be like, yeah, or we like that, or no, that ain't working, or let's come up with something else.
Cool.
So are you ready for Randy's 10 random questions?
Oh, Lord, I guess. I'm ready as I'll ever be.
All right, I'll make them kind of quick. We can get you out of here then. What's your favorite word?
Man, my favorite word is, I don't know. I feel like I'm on Family Feud or something where what is that show they call when they ask you all the questions, you win 20,000?
The correct answer is your favorite word is Donna.
Good thing I don't have a time limit. My favorite word is probably, I don't know, probably dang or something. I don't know.
Do you have a least?
I could ask my girlfriend. She probably could tell me what my favorite word is.
It might be curse words.
I don't really know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It might not be a nice word.
Do you have a least favorite word? Something you can't stand to hear people using all the time?
I don't like to hear people say. I don't like to hear people use God's name and things. And when they people drop GD or something like that,
right.
It kind of like makes me cringe a little bit. But I don't really like hearing that.
What turns you on?
A good. Man, I stumped me with these questions. I'm trying to keep it professional. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're taking the fun out of it.
I like a pretty smile, I guess.
What turns you off?
What turns me off is I know this is probably going to make a lot of people mad, but I don't like when it turns me off when I see a nice girl, a nice woman, like using a lot of profanity and just talking like she's, I don't know. To me that turns me off. Like I want when you're talking or something, I want you to talk like you're educated, like you carry yourself well. But when you're talking all trashy, like that kind of turns me off.
I can relate 100%. What sound do you love?
I love the sound of my kids when they say, "Hey, Daddy," or they love me or something.
What sound do you hate?
5, 4, 3.
I'm thinking.
She just.
I bet y'all ain't never had nobody take this long to answer the question. I'm just trying to think. I don't really hate a lot of stuff, man. It takes a lot to get under my skin. Somebody. I guess what sound I hate is somebody like by one of my kids or something. I got a little girl, and she's 8 years old, and when she walks through the house, she sounds like she weighs about 400 pounds. She'll be stomping through the house. So I guess that's the sound that I hate.
What, you got a favorite drink?
Alcoholic beverage or just normal?
Anything, whatever you drink.
I like Coke, or I like Pepsi.
Now, is it the same over there as it is in Texas? If I ask you if you want a Coke, will you tell me you want whatever you want instead of actually having a Coke?
No, I'll just if I came out there and you mean to somebody, if I said I want a Coke and they didn't have Coke?
Well, over here you go somewhere in Texas and waitress will come up and she'll say, you want a Coke to drink? And that's when you tell her whether you want a Dr. Pepper or Pepsi or whatever.
I got you. Kind of like they ask if you want a pop or something.
Yeah, but they always say you want a Coke, but it could be anything. Iced tea, sweet tea.
Right. If she asks if I want a Coke, I'd probably say Coke because I like to drink Coke. But I've been a couple places before where I would like to get sweet tea and they didn't have sweet tea, or they'd say, yeah, we got sweet tea, but it wasn't sweet tea like where I'm from. It was like kind you've got to pour syrup in or something and stir it up. And I was like, this ain't sweet tea.
No, it ain't. What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
I would like to be a detective. If I didn't do music, I would try to be a detective or something like that. I'm real into like Law and Order and Chicago PD, those shows and stuff. So I think if I wasn't into music, I would do that or try to do that.
What profession would you not like to do?
I would not want to be a mixed martial arts fighter or a boxer. I don't want to get my head beat in for a living.
You better stay out of some of them honky tonks.
I've seen my share of it, and I've participated in my share of it, but it ain't what I want to do for a living.
Yeah, I hear you. Last question.
Oh, before you go on to the last question, have you ever heard of wobbly pop?
Wobbly pop?
Wobbly pop. Because in the chat room, Carol Durham says that they call it soda. I says we call it fizzy pop in the UK. Grant Daniels said wobbly pop.
I've never heard of wobbly pop.
Where's Grant from?
I don't know where he's from. I have no idea.
Wobbly pop.
I've heard of pop, and when I was in the military for a little while, I had some friends that were from up around like Minnesota and stuff like that, and they all called it pop.
Minnesota, isn't that a small kind of pop?
Yeah, they'd be talking about soda and they would call it pop, and you want some pop, and I'd be like, what's pop what? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm from Ohio. I'm from Ohio originally. We called it pop, but when I lived up in New York, they called it soda.
Oh, Grant Daniels is from Canada.
See, where I'm from, we call it. See, where I'm from, where I call it, we just call it soda.
Ah.
So, like.
Oh, Grant's from Canada, so that's must be a Canadian thing. Them Canucks are all like that, anyways. They're all strange.
I've never been to Canada. I wouldn't. We're gonna try to get up in Canada here soon, whenever I get better, and play some music up there. So maybe I'll learn about wobbly pop then.
Maybe it's like jelly, you know Well, you don't even call it jelly, do you? What do you call it? Jello. Maybe it's all wobbly like your Jello.
See, you're teaching the Brit a little bit of that Southern slang over there.
Oh, yeah.
Last one. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you get to the pearly gates?
I'd like to hear him say that I made it and come on in.
Yeah. Like I told somebody else one time, I said, I hope he even speaks to me.
Exactly. Now, before I got in my wreck, I was kind of hell on wheels, and I might have been headed down the wrong path. I might have got there, and I might have got there, and he'd have said nope, and sent me back on down somewhere. But since I got in my wreck, I've gotten closer with God and my relationship with Him and stuff. And that used to be something that I wouldn't talk about, but now I'll talk about it because I feel like He saved me and He was with me that night and He gave me another chance at life. So.
You think that's His way of sitting you down and saying, "Son, you need to slow down a little bit"?
I think it is. I think it was His way of showing me, you're going down the wrong path, and
yeah,
I need you to come back this way, because that's how I was. I was brought up that way, and I just kind of lost sight of things there for a while. I got caught up in the partying and being wild and stuff. So definitely humbled me back down and brought me back over to where I feel like I need to be.
Well, Grant in the chat room says that beer is wobbly pop. Makes you all wobbly.
Oh, okay. That
drink it.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Nothing like putting on a good wobble.
Well, we have some of your music to play, so we're going to flush you down the Yankee and the Brit Show toilet. If there's anything that you would like to add before we flush that chain, speak now.
I just want to say appreciate y'all having me on the show, and enjoy talking with you, and hope I didn't take too long to answer all your questions. I was trying to think of the best answer I could come up with. I just thank y'all for having me.
Well, you did fine. It's your moment to shine. You do what you got to do. We'd love it. Nice having you give us a little buzz and chat with us for a little bit, too. I hope you heal up all right.
Yeah, say hello to Jim.
Oh yeah, I'll tell him, hey, and I appreciate that.
All right, y'all be good, and we'll be listening for some new music.
All right, thank y'all.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
See
Good
ya.
night.
Thanks. Bye.
It's more than music. More than music. It's a state of mind. Don't stop. Let's go. It's a way of life. Come on. And there's nobody that throws down country better than this. On the RTM Radio Network.